Je vais parler en français. Oh, c'est pas vrai, c'est pas vrai. I was joking. Okay, I will start with this study that probably was the most important first study about this topic. It was the Diogenes Study, and it's belonging to EPIC study performed in 5 countries in almost 100,000 people with a follow-up of 6 and more years. You know that every year we go spontaneously to increase our body weight, physiologically almost. And you can see by this study, that when you increase the consumption on the fruit and vegetables, the change of body weight is progressively lower with the increase of the consumption of this food. And interestingly, in this study, they showed that per every 100 gram intake of fruit and vegetables, weight change was lower, increase of 14 gram per year. And another interesting finding was that persons who stop smoking are more sensible to this effect. After 2 years appeared this study in the US and performed in very several people, more than 400,000 people. And in this study, people were divided in 2 groups. One group was the people taking at least 5 servings per day, and versus people taking less than this quantity. And the first interesting result was that only 1 American on 4 adults consume at least 5 servings per day. The other interesting finding was that overweight and obese groups consumed significantly less fruit and vegetables than the other one. And this inverse association remained significant after controlling for other confounding factors. And the multivariate analysis showed that other parameters influencing this association were race, sex, smoking, and physical activity. And in particular, physically inactive obese men tended to consume the least quantity of fruit and vegetables. So this shows what is well known, that the people that are not interested in health consume less fruit and vegetables, are more inactive. This is more clearly shown by these pictures, and you can see that the people the prevalence of people taking at least 5 servings per day are higher in the normal weight people and in people more active. The contrary for sedentary people and obese, and this was true in men and in women. But appears in this year the first systematic review on this topic. And as you can see, the authors show that an inverse relationship between fruit and vegetable intake and adiposity among overweight adults was weak. And even in children was even more unclear, this association. So it appears that it was not so clear. And it was also unclear whether increases in fruit vegetables intake was independently of the quantity of food or the adiposity. So on the basis of this systematic review, the association was not so clear. After 3 years appears another systematic review and meta-analysis from Kaiser and the colleagues. And again, they show that although many fruit and vegetables have demonstrated positive health benefits, recommending increased fruit and vegetable consumption to treat or prevent obesity without explicitly combining with methods to reduce intake of other energy sources is unwarranted. that means that there are factors influencing this association. So still, it's not so clear the association between body weight and fruit and vegetable consumption. But we have a very interesting study 1 year later on +1 showing that a higher intake of fruits was inversely associated with weight change, and increased intake of fruits was inversely associated with changes in waist circumference, but no significant change could be observed for combining fruit and vegetable consumption or alone vegetable consumption. So it seems, on the basis of this study, that is not the same effect of fruit and vegetables, that could be some difference. And this was the first time that was shown so quite clearly. This this study is even more very interesting. This is a study examining 3 large prospective cohorts, men and women, and these were the HPFS, HES, NHS2, so important studies. The results were adjusted for diet, smoking status, and physical activity, and was in some way meta-analysis. And you can see here that the total fruit was actually a more strong effect on total vegetables, confirming the previous study. And if we're going to look at the single effect or single food, you can see that the berries have the strongest effect. So now we have the concept that we cannot put all together fruit and vegetables, and we have to distinguish fruit and vegetables. And among fruits, we have to examine singularly. It looks like berries are the strongest, have the strongest effect. And concerning vegetables, we have cruciferous vegetables that have a stronger effect in comparison to other vegetables, and particularly this one. We call the cavolfiore in Italy, I don't know, cow cauliflower, something like this. And also it's very important, this kind of vegetables. And so, an important effect is from apple and pears. You know the story, 1 apple a day you can get free of doctors. So it's confirmed by this study. And interesting also, it's if you compare the content of fibers, the most strong effect is from high fiber fruit. After that, low fiber fruit, and after that, the quantity of fibers in vegetables. So this study effectively seems to clarify some aspects in this topic. And it can be also interesting that soy, that is not actually a fruit or a typical vegetable, has a strong effect in this topic. I'm going to the end of my presentation, and another interesting finding is very recent, published this year, is the effect of sex. If you look the effect of more consumption of fruit and vegetables, the effect is clear on body weight and change on body weight in men, but it's not significant in women. So we have to look about this result. So, which are the mechanisms responsible for weight loss induced by fruit and vegetables? One potential explanation for weight reduction may be a decrease in total energy intake. Several components, such as fiber content, glycemic load, or polyphenols, might be responsible for their anti-obesity effects. Fibers increase satiety, reduce hunger feeling, and energy intake. Lower glycemic load produce fewer and smaller postprandial glucose spikes that may decrease insulin levels and then hunger. Diets with low glycemic load or low glycemic index may increase resting energy expenditure. This is a further interesting result. And the polyphenols may influence insulin sensitivity, gut microbiome, and adipose tissue metabolism. But There is some interesting people like this about paradoxical effects of fruit on obesity. That we shouldn't forget that some fruit are quite rich in simple sugars, like glucose, fructose, sucrose. So we have to think about what kind of fruit we are talking about. And some can actually increase lipogenesis, synthesis of triglycerides in liver, fat mass. And when we talk of fruit, we should consider also that we can be talking about dried fruit, canned fruit, juice fruit, giving more caloric intake and less satiety. So when we talk of fruit, we should think how much sugar is in your favorite fruit. The final slide, the recommendation, together what I already said. To eat not less than 5 daily portions of 5 fruit and vegetables per day. To eat fruit and vegetables of different color, and this, as you know, has to do with cancer also. To keep in mind that juice is not only fruit juice is a sweet drink. To eat full grains and legumes, don't forget this, with fruit and vegetables. Thank you.